Let's say you're walking down a typical street in any town, North Carolina, when suddenly out of nowhere, bam, this guy wants your phone. What do? You run, of course, and leave the phone behind. But had you known where the most dangerous places in North Carolina were, you might have picked a different place to visit. Our goal today is to highlight the most dangerous cities in North Carolina. We looked at the last 3 years of FBI reporting data for cities over 10,000 residents, and we broke the numbers down into your statistical chances of being the victim of a violent or a property crime. For example, surprisingly, according to the stats, Durham is only 9th for violence and didn't make the top 10. Sure, there were more than 1,800 violent crimes here last year, but the population's so large that statistically Bull City doesn't rank as high as these other smaller cities. So grab your shotgun and your pepper spray as we get started. Our first stop along our most dangerous journey through the Tar Heel State starts in, surprisingly, Burlington. This Alamance County city has the nickname Borrington, but on the fringes it's pretty rough. Burlington has the state's 22nd highest property crime rank, but on average more than one violent crime a day happens here, which is one reason it's in the top 10. The east side near Graham is the worst part. On a positive note, at least the crime in Burlington's going down, so that's fabulous! Next up on our danger zone tour of the Tar Heel State brings us to Salisbury, the heart of Rowan County. Now, if you talk to Salisbury residents, lots of them will claim they should be atop this list. If you go into downtown Salisbury at night, you better be packing heat. Unless you want heroin, meth, or crack, then you'd fit right in. Car vandalisms, break-ins, and thefts from garages and storage areas happen all the time here. Or you could just get robbed at the ATM on Main Street, or while pumping gas at Wilco Hess. Smithfield, North Carolina certainly has room to improve. Despite the fact that crime here has been steadily falling for the last 5 years, this Johnson County city is still the 8th most dangerous place in the state. Lots of the problems here lie with drinking and drugs. If you spend a year in Smithfield, you'd have a 1 in 18 chance of being the victim of a property crime. For perspective, in Pinehurst, North Carolina, you'd have a 1 in 120 chance of being robbed every year. A real big difference. Another city on the eastern side of the state, Rocky Mount, sure could use some love. If you spend a year in Rocky Mount, you'd have about a 1 in 95 chance of being the victim of a violent crime. In fact, a few years ago, there were about 2 violent crimes a day reported in Rocky Mount. On the bright side, due to the high number of people in prison in this part of the state, you can bet the lines at the Highway Diner are probably a lot shorter these days. Jack and Jill went to Goldsboro to get some barbecue. Jack got shot and Jill got mugged. Thank God it wasn't you. Goldsboro has also seen its crime going up and down, but as it stands, this city of 37,000 people sees just under 1 violent crime each day. Goldsboro is the former home of Andy Griffith, and sounds like they could use Matlock right now to help solve some of Goldsboro's recent crimes, since there have been 5 unsolved murders in Goldsboro and 8 total murders this year. Last year, Goldsboro saw 9 murders, so they're on pace for a long year. This video is brought to you by Phil's Guns on Route 15 in Greensboro. Look, crime is higher than ever, and everyone needs to be protected. Whether you've never owned a gun before, you already own several weapons, or even if Dad just left and you're the man of the house now, we'll help you find the gun that's right for you. Protect yourself from intruders. Protect yourself from them. Gonna take a highway to the danger zone. Welcome to Statesville, the 5th most dangerous city in North Carolina. Here you have about a 1 in 139 chance of being the victim of a violent crime, meaning rape, attacked, or murdered. Yikes. And property crimes in Statesville are through the roof too. That brand new Mazda Miata in your front yard? Better lock it up. Your new kids on the block posters? Gone. Sounds like the punks will pretty much steal anything that isn't locked down in Statesville. For perspective, in Davidson, North Carolina, you have about a 1 in 130 chance of being the victim of a crime. Ah, Davidson. Way back in 2003, Laurinburg was named as an All-American city, but things are now a little bit dodgy here. This Scotland County city is the 4th most violent place in the state. There were more than 200 violent crimes here, and this place isn't very big. Down in Lenore County is the city of Kinston, which is 3rd in the state for both violent crimes and property crimes per person. Like several other cities on this list, Kinston was once voted as one of the better places to live in the state. But now if you read Facebook these days, you see people complaining about drugs, prostitution, and gunfire in the middle of the day. Ladies, it's too bad that in Kinston, these aren't the guys who follow you out to the car. No, it's these type of guys. If you want to see a real mess, head up to Henderson in Vance County near the Virginia state line. Henderson's also the 20th most dangerous place in the entire nation, statistically. There were more than 200 violent crimes in the last 2 years, and the numbers are climbing steadily. If you spent a year in Henderson, you'd have about a 1 in 10 chance of being robbed every year. Look at the crime stats for Henderson. 0 means 0 other places are more dangerous. And it looks to be about 5 times more dangerous than the average North Carolina city. But hey, they have one of the last remaining drive-in movie theaters in Henderson, and they can't steal cars at a drive-in. Or can they? Where's the most dangerous place in North Carolina? That would be Lumberton by a landslide. This is both the most violent and the place where you have the highest chance of being robbed in the entire state. This is where Michael Jordan's dad was killed, remember? According to the FBI, Lumberton's the 4th most dangerous place in the entire nation. Just look at the Robesonian crime report. They publish this thing twice a day, and there's still plenty of stuff to talk about. Basically, if you live in Lumberton, you or somebody you know well was victimized by a crime this year. If you live in Lumberton or any of the other cities we mentioned, you live in a really dangerous place. And if you don't live in any of these cities, you can rest a lot easier at night. Congratulations.